Also, I probably wouldn't have put it in the trailer. I'm just saying, while important to make sure we do FOD prevention, having a bunch of guys wearing vacuums on their back, cleaning the flight deck is not just that. It's just not that cool. But, you know, good to see FOD prevention going on. Hey, welcome in. Someone put a trailer together for a Chinese Top Gun, and really it's just putting it side by side against the original Top Gun trailer, which is epic. And this is from the Fujian, their latest aircraft carrier that just completed its sea trials this past week, which we did a video on. Today, we're gonna take a look at that. All right, so here we go. Always inspirational to hear that music. I don't care who you are. So real quick, I did the translation, or at least Google did the translation for us rather, and I'll put it up on the screen. So this is August 1st film studio of the Chinese People Liberation Army. And for those that aren't familiar, August 1st is actually the Chinese PLA display team flown by J-10s. August 1st is also the military holiday in China, which associates with the founding of the PLA on August 1st, 1927. So a little bit of history lesson, and I assume that's why they picked the name for this production studio. So let's continue. Again, everyone's getting fired up here with the music. How can you not? Dark aura. All right. Now, again, we have to do a little Google translation here, and you're welcome. This film is dedicated to the Chinese People Liberation Army Naval Aviation. That seems appropriate. So it turns out it's not Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer. Again, back to Dark Aura. All right, this one I think is a lot of words. So it turns out this one is a lot of words. Sincerely yours, a pioneer in China's aircraft carrier and carrier-based aircraft industry. This one I think is a Google translation error, but it looks like Zhu Yingfu, chief designer of the Longying aircraft carrier. Research Sun Guangzhou, chief designer of the Shandong aircraft carrier. Sun Kong, chief designer of the J-15 carrier-based aircraft. Mai Wangming, founder of the integrated ship power technology. And Comrade Lu Yang, on-site commander of the J-15 carrier-based aircraft, 1961 to 2012. A little homage to the aircraft carrier designer, the aircraft chief designers for each respective one, it looks like. Shall we continue? So not Tom Cruise. All right, so the Fujian, J-35, J-15T, and the KJ-600. Those are the three platforms that certified for carrier-based operations a few weeks ago. And again, the PLA released that video, and we did a little bit of a breakdown of that about a week or so ago. I'll link that down below or up top channel. All right, more words. The Chinese People's Navy, PLA, was founded on April 23rd, 1949. After years of effort and experimentation, on September 22nd, 2025, the PLA Navy officially completed its first catapult launch and landing training aboard the Fujian aircraft carrier. This marked the beginning of the PLA Navy's transition from near-sea defenses to far-sea defenses. And it should be noted, not in this write-up, but it was EMAL's electronic catapult system versus the steam one, which I'm sure I'll have a few comments about the trailer. But nonetheless, it is a big milestone for the PLA. If you talk about power projection, being able to take fighter-based aircraft, early warning aircraft, and sail it around the world, that is power projection. It also goes on to say the Fujian ship is about to be delivered to the Chinese People's Navy, which will add a new main combat force to the People's Navy combat sequence and mark a new stage in the construction of aircraft carrier combat effectiveness. So again, I would agree this is a milestone for the PLA Navy for sure. Let us continue. We're almost to the trailer, but you got to build it up here. A lot of time to read words because there are a lot of words, characters and symbols and such. All right, this one, let me know down below if you can guess what this one means. Go right now. Did you guess Top Gun? If you did, you were correct. You know, one thing with EMALs, you're just not going to get the steam. You know, you need more steam really for the dramatic effect, but in today's age, movie producers just gonna have to deal with that. So it doesn't matter if it's Top Gun Maverick or the Fujian. Just not a lot of steam. Just look how good that looks. It really does build a lot of drama and anticipation. See it being lifted up. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't mention the canopy bow. Again, you know, for fighter pilots, this is just terrible to have a canopy bow. We have it in the F-35, so you know we're no different. But come from the F-16, no canopy bow. That's where we want to be in life. And at a minimum, like we say, hey, dogfighting might not matter. You don't really have to worry about the visibility, or if you're doing surface or air to surface attack, like strafing, you know, the canopy bow just always seems to be in the way. But nonetheless, the way this ejection sequence works with a canopy bow is you have det cord over your head. So what ends up happening is you have glass shards being blown all over you. There's been some people with some significant burns, and now that can happen, you know, with just a canopy going away naturally, or the ejection seat blast. But you know, if I had to vote for it, I'd rather just the canopy go away and not be blown into a million little shards of glass, or you know, composite plastics. You know, for you engineering types out there, again, not where I want to be in life. I'd rather just have the full canopy transparency depart. But nonetheless, yeah, the J-35, much like our F-35, has the det cord. Same with the J-20, et cetera, et cetera. So again, not where you want to be in life, but it is what it is. Again, got that HUD up there on the J-35. Maybe a later variant won't have a HUD. It'll just be an integrated helmet. You know, this is an early variant of the J-35. It is impressive. They basically unveiled this last fall, and now this thing is doing sea trials. So maybe a follow-on will not have a HUD, or maybe it'll have a HUD like, you know, most fourth and some fifth gen fighters. Like the F-35 doesn't have a HUD. Sidebar, let's back up. I mean, either that guy is really tiny, or that J-15 is massive. I'm going to go with the J-15 is massive. But look, I mean, there could be some parallax error here, but it looks odd. Like those guys look like giants by that wheel, and this guy looks like he is the size of the wheel, and maybe he's just way far forward. Got some depth perception things going on there, but I mean, look at him. He is like the tire. So clearly he's going to be out front. You know, those other guys out front, but man, he looks small. Look at this. So this would be like F-16 crew chiefs take note. I mean, these guys got vacuum cleaners out there sweeping for foreign object debris, FOD, which is a good thing. You know, obviously you don't want to suck something up in the motor and FOD out a motor. That's a bad thing. F-16 really susceptible to this. Big vacuum onto that bottom side. So FOD is a really big concern and a big focus. I mean, any little piece, you're an F-16 pilot, you're worried about it. Other platforms still worried about it, maybe a little bit less so because those intakes are a little bit higher up off the ground. Interesting to see it here. You know, I wonder, like for the Navy folks out there, I know they care about FOD to a certain extent, but vacuuming the aircraft carrier, like I wonder if you do this every time. Also, I probably wouldn't have put it in the trailer. I'm just saying, while important to make sure we do FOD prevention, having a bunch of guys wearing vacuums on their back, cleaning the flight deck is not just that. It's just not that cool. But, you know, good to see FOD prevention going on. The old KJ600, this one was also unveiled this past December. Mal's birthday celebration, when we saw the J50, the J36, those being unveiled. And this was also part of the package there. You know, again, it does look like an E2, and the comments will blow up because of that. But I mean, that looks like an E2 Hawkeye to me. And to be fair, I don't think the E2 got that much love in Top Gun originally, you know? I mean, E2 guys out there, you do an important job. And everyone needs you, but you definitely didn't get as much screen time. So if this guy's showing the KJ600 a little bit more love than our Navy brethren. Again, more steam. Again, it's the nature of EMALs. You just don't have it. I will say the Tomcat, you know, Hollywood production, they did capture the flame just a little bit better here in the J-30, but that's being really nitpicky. Slow-mo is always good. Really builds the dramatic effect there. It's ironically a very similar shot, huh? Times 2. Cool shot of a J-15. It's a big old plane. You know, not being a Navy fighter pilot, but talking to the guys on the podcast who've landed on the boat and now going to the magic carpet where it's linking up to the ship and there's a lot of automation that's being flown, that they actually had to degrade it or induce not an error into it, but it was so accurate that it was hitting on the exact same spot of the boat each and every time, creating stress, wear, and tear on that wire and on that landing spot. So you kind of have the variety, right? The human error to spread that out. And you look at the J-15. Let's look and see how much a J-15 weighs. So a J-15 empty weighs around 38,000 pounds, fully loaded upwards of 60,000 pounds, max takeoff weight of 72,000 pounds. So that is a tremendous amount of force and weight hitting the deck there. I mean, again, it's pretty impressive. Just for giggles, what's an F-14 weigh? 40,000 pounds, that's empty weight. So perspective-wise, F-14 empty is about 40,000 pounds. I don't know what the max loadout on is, but again, you probably could figure around 60,000 pounds, just rough math. The Tomcat guy can chime in there. And then the F-35C being just under about 40,000 pounds, empty weight. Again, we could plus that up as well. So the J-15, not an insignificant size nor weight when it comes to just operations on an aircraft carrier and then impacting a flight deck when it comes back to land. Again, giving that KJ-600 some more love than the Navy gave the E-2. Big old silhouette flying over that. I don't know. It's a cool little trailer they put together there. Obviously, they're pretty proud of these sea trials. And again, I do think it is impressive that they've moved so quickly with aviation and unloading a variety of planes, showcasing them. Again, what they're capable of and actually able to do, quite different. However, I don't think you should discount this as what is typically done. It's like, oh, it's just a Chinese knockoff. Clearly, they know how to scale. Clearly, they know how to manufacture. And over the years, they've learned through various means and resources to go out there and develop. And again, now they have certified 3 aircraft at least that we know of to operate off the Fujian. So you can only anticipate that they'll continue to iterate and improve upon this going forward.